Austin, I kind of want you to jump in because this is a little bit different than we normally do. We didn't go from A to Z here. We didn't really do the designs. You kind of jumped into mid-process, would you say? And tell me about when you met Doug and kind of how you took the reins from there and kind of stepped in and helped.
So initially, going in, I guarantee the very first conversation that I had with Doug and everybody that was jumping in with was your app's going to be one or two spots. And it's either going to be to a point where there's you're going to have to reinvest to get it to where it needs to go, or we're going to be able to keep on running. And
that's a hard conversation.
No, it's a super hard,
especially for a founder to hear that and be like, wait, you're telling me I'm going to have to scrap everything I have, or can you save it?
Yeah.
Obviously, you want the right answer.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's always hard to have this conversation because going back, the very first thing is trust. And when I come in, and I'm always a bad guy, when I come in, I'm like, hey, I may have to rebuild your entire product. I feel like they instantly look at me and they're like,
this guy's trying to just get money from me. He's just trying to restart.
And it's and it's always interesting because when I'm having these conversations, I'm just explaining that if we continue with what's already there, you're really just only hurting yourself versus having to build something new. But in this specific case, Doug's product was actually in a pretty good spot.
Really? Yeah. When you got it, it actually was in a good situation.
Obviously, and this is a funny thing, and everybody should know this. When I go and look at somebody's code and review it, all of those opinions are subjective. And every single developer that goes and reviews your code is a subjective opinion because there's a million different ways to do something. Yep. And so, yes,
there's not a standard way that all code should look and all apps are built.
Yep.
Really, it's just kind of all over the place.
I mean, there's a specific set of rules, but in general, there's a lot of ways to create rules for a product.
I would say this is more of a creative thing rather than actual science.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely more than one way to skin the cat. And I mean, there were definitely things that I didn't love about the product, but there were things that we could push through and it would still scale. Now, going into the future where there were things, I think there were things put into place that made it hard to make specific pivots, but overall,
because it wasn't written or designed to scale, right?
Yeah.
Or forward thinking, kind of like you said.
Really, it's just the forward thinking piece. And the reason the developer did it was for a good reason. Yeah. So to really get technical, the way that it was built, it was built very opinionated. And by having an opinionated piece of software makes it really hard for things to do things outside of the set of rules that you create, which is a good thing. And when you're working with teams overseas, having those constraints are good. But to build a new feature takes 3 weeks instead of 1 week.
I was going to say because you have to get outside of that.
Yeah, you've got to build all these extra layers to make sure that something like that's possible. Now, I mean, there are pros and cons to how you can do that, and we don't really need to dive into it. Yeah, but long story short, diving into this product, it was in a really good spot. And from there, I would say the hardest piece was continuing to understand where Doug wanted to take the product, but then to keep. Because I wasn't just coming in to finish the app. I was coming in to finish the app, continue leading, this app among other apps that were being developed, and continue working with the team that was already on the product, and take it where it needed to go. And so I was basically just thrown into the deep end. Yeah. And literally I called Doug, I was like, hey, when do you want this out? And I'm pretty sure I think you had already had time commitments for certain things. Mm-hmm. And I remember just, working super crazy long hours with all these people to try and get it across the finish line.
So you felt you're a little out of your depth, to be honest.
Oh, for sure.
And she had you fooled apparently because you felt like he knew exactly what
I was super confident. I was like, Yelson's like, yeah, I think we can get it done. And I'm like, sweet, go for it. And I was like, that was it for me.
Yeah.
Because my part was, and I'm not in the details. So
yeah.